if we kind of take it to the present day, let's bring things right up to date.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a musical project. Well, we'll come on to your various projects, but one of them is Operation Twofold.
Yeah.
And I heard the lead, because it's 2 tracks, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
bring it out
correct.
as a single. And I heard I've heard both tracks, but Hold Me has definitely got that kind of Northern Soul kind of mod feel. You've replicated that kind of genre, but maybe with a slightly modern twist. Would you agree?
I would. I mean, you can trace the roots of that song back to the Javels, Goodbye, Nothing to Say. It's the same sort of syncopated piano line. So that's where the Northern Soul thing comes into it.
So let's take that track from how it's sort of inception to completion. So did you just have this kind of idea that you kind of and then you took it to a studio and then you built it from there? How did it come about?
No, I wrote the entire song in about 3 minutes.
Okay.
In my front room.
Yeah.
And that was just noticing that certain chords went together at a certain rhythm. And we used to do the Javels when we were in the small hours, so I sort of knew the rhythm.
Okay.
And I was just messing about one day, and lo and behold, 3 minutes later, it was there.
And the lyrics, did they come at that time?
No, they were written by some people in Scotland with a band called Button Up, Sarah and Gary, because I was looking for a lyricist because I wasn't happy with what I was doing. And I got in contact with them, and they did the job. Perfect. So, really pleased with that.
Because I think we spoke briefly before we came into this musical recording chamber. And I think I was saying to you, when you write, is it a spontaneous process?
Oh, absolutely. I never know what's going to come out. Most of the time, nothing comes out. But I don't sit down to write. I just sit down to practice. And usually I'll make a mistake and then I'll think, oh, that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, some of the great recordings are actually bits that are left on the cutting room floor and then sellotaped onto the front of the tape.
And away you go.
Yeah. But that's, I think that's probably part of the modern recording process that allows you to make mistakes and use them, whereas one-take recordings of the past, perhaps there was a spontaneity, but it didn't allow you to kind of step back and maybe think about it and make changes that, might just be a flash of inspiration after the event.
Yeah, I think that in former times you'd get in and rehearse something with a band. I don't have a band, so I haven't got any time to rehearse with it. But I use a really good production team.
Yeah.
Who I can just play a song, say Hold Me.
Do you want to name names? Talk about them.
There's Toby Hounsham, he's the keyboard player, and Phil Ray, the engineer, and we've got our own nice little group there, and we work in different styles of music, but it's always the same sort of sound.
And that's at the Running Frog Studios.
Yeah. That's so. That's basically it, really. I just make mistakes, and then I think, oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
And the songs just come out.
Do they throw things back at you and say, try it this way, or is it totally your baby in terms of, I know sometimes people go in a studio and the producer can almost take over, but you feel that you've got a comfortable relationship and they allow you to express yourself the way you want to.
Yeah. I mean, with Toby, he's great. He'll just interpret the song exactly right. And I can get him to play in any style and he'll do it exactly right first time. It's brilliant. Yeah.
And where does Phil come in? Is that kind of like...
Well, he's the engineer, and he sort of, he makes everything sound right. He makes Toby's keyboards sound right. He gets the vocalist to sound right, and he's got the right levels, etc., and he's got the right richness of sound.
Yes.
He's pretty good at programming drums and stuff like that. I'll play him the song.
Technical stuff.
Yeah. But
that's stuff that gets in the way if you want to write a song, but you need somebody to actually make it sound good.
I mean, he always gets the beat right. I don't tell him what to do. He just gets it right.
So you just all know your particular role in the process, and you actually gel together and work as a unit effectively.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that we've ever sat down and talked about it. We just do it.
It's spontaneous again.
Yeah.
And you think that's the right...
Yeah.
I mean, I as I said, I heard hold me. I must admit, the first time I heard it was last night on YouTube. And also On Our Way, which I thought, it's not a cover of On My Way, the Northern Soul, but it's got Northern Soul connections with a similar title. But they both have that kind of feel, and wouldn't be out of place at the Wigan Casino.
No, we couldn't afford the Memphis horns for that one. No. And we couldn't afford the gospel choir, but maybe one day.
So with the horn sound, is that keyboard generated?
Yeah, it's keyboard generated.
Yeah.
That's the bit that we could afford.
Because I suppose it would be rude of us not to mention Cara Milton, who's the singer on those tracks. Just wonder if you could sort of fill us in on how you hooked up with her and give us a bit about her background.
Well, I was looking for a good singer, and I was talking to Dizzy Detour from Detour Records, and I said, look, I'm looking for a really good singer, and he knew Carla from DC Fontana. Carla's a grade 8 qualified with distinction vocalist. She's proper pucker, and so I sent her up a tape, and she said, "Oh yeah, I quite like this. Let's work together." And it was amazing. She just came. We met up in Birmingham. She came down into the studio. She did it in about an hour. Really quick, one take, etc. Just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Did all the vocal parts, excellent. Yeah. Excellent.
Because I think she's also got a parallel career with this outfit. Was it the Cara Milton Collective, which is would you say a sort of a large soul band?
Well, they're a sort of a jazz funk band.
Yeah.
And she also gigs with DC Fontana from time to time.
Yes.
So it's like me. I've got my other projects, and Carla's got her other projects. But we've come together just for this one.
Yeah. Now the single, how can people get it? That's a good question, isn't it? That you make it, you want people to hear it.
Yeah, so, it's going to be on iTunes, and you'll be able to click on the button on the website, and you'll be able to buy it there. Also, we'll be printing up 250 vinyl singles and 250 CDs. Some of those will be going out to the press as promotional copies, but they can buy it from Detour Records, and they're in Midhurst in West Sussex.
So if they just do a Google search for that label, they could source it through that.
Or you can click on a button and you can order a vinyl. But
is that through Detour or through your Operation
no,
Twofold website?
It's through Detour.
Okay.
But they've got to be quick.
Okay.
Because we've only got 250 of them.
Okay, so if you need to get it now is the answer.
Yeah.
Don't do like I do and Diver. Limited edition things, they go, don't they?
They go. And if we have to do a rerun, that's going to take 3 weeks.
Yeah. That's fair enough. And what about any live promotional work?
Well,
any intentions with the two of you to do that?
We want to do some dates for some scooter rallies. We'd like to do the Isle of Wight. That would be marvellous. And some other scooter rallies up and down the country. Yeah, we'll see how the single goes, and if we get sufficient interest, we'll be putting a band together and going out on dates. Definitely.
Have you given any consideration to who would be in the band?
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of like, should it go to phase 2 of the operation, you're ready to roll on that, are you?
Yeah, absolutely. I know who the drummer is. I know who the guitar player is. Obviously, Toby.
On keyboards.
Yeah, I'd play bass on it. It's pretty much there. I'd know who the horn section was as well, so that would be great.